you've spent decades building yourself. The wisdom, the calm, the quiet confidence that comes only from having actually lived through something. And then she walks in. Younger, full of energy, genuinely curious about who you are, and something inside you that had gone quiet starts moving again. That feeling is real, and there is nothing wrong with it. But what happens in the weeks that follow is where most older men begin making the same quiet, devastating mistakes. Mistakes that don't happen dramatically. Mistakes that happen slowly, almost invisibly, until the day you look in the mirror and barely recognize the man looking back. This is not a judgment on these relationships. They can absolutely work. This is about protecting something far more important: the identity, the self-respect, and the inner strength you spent your entire adult life building. Because the moment those things start to slip, everything she was drawn to starts disappearing along with them. Here are 6 mistakes every older man must understand and commit to avoiding. The first mistake is trying to act like you're her age. The moment attraction arrives, something strange happens to older men. They start adjusting. The clothes change. The language shifts. They start chasing trends that don't belong to them, trying to close the distance between their world and hers, as if 30 years of lived experience is something to be embarrassed about. Here's what she already knows, even if she hasn't said it. When something is forced, it feels forced. She detects the inauthenticity before you've finished the sentence, and that detection quietly erodes the very attraction that brought her toward you in the first place. Your age is not the obstacle. Your age is the reason she noticed you. You've survived things she hasn't reached yet. You've rebuilt yourself after losses that would have broken someone. Without your foundation, that creates a depth of presence that no 25-year-old man can manufacture, no matter how hard he tries. When you stay rooted in who you genuinely are, your attractiveness doesn't decrease with time. It compounds. The second mistake is becoming her emotional support system. This one creeps in because it feels like intimacy. She begins sharing her struggles, her past, her fears. You listen. You want to help. You feel useful, maybe even needed, and without realizing it, you become the person she offloads everything onto. Every anxiety, every crisis, every heavy thing she can't carry alone. You start believing this closeness is the same as attraction. It isn't. There is a significant difference between being genuinely present with someone and becoming their emotional landfill. A grounded man listens without absorbing everything. He stays steady without trying to rescue every situation. He doesn't sacrifice his own peace trying to be her savior. When she brings emotional chaos into the room, you remain calm. That balance, your calm against her storm, is genuinely powerful. But the moment you become her emotional crutch, she stops seeing the settled man she was drawn to and starts seeing someone she needs to manage. That is not the foundation romantic attraction is built on. The third mistake is seeking her validation. This one is the most common and often the most damaging, because it happens so gradually that most men don't notice until the damage is already done. You start giving more compliments than feel natural. You check your phone more often, waiting on her reply with attention you haven't felt in years. You adjust what you say and how you behave based on what you think will keep her interested. And slowly, without making any conscious decision to do so, your sense of your own worth becomes tied to her reaction. The moment that happens, control of the entire dynamic shifts. You stop leading and start pleasing. You stop being the man she was drawn to and start becoming the man trying desperately to hold her attention. A man who knows his own value doesn't go looking for anyone to confirm it. His schedule doesn't pause waiting on her response. His mood doesn't swing based on how quickly she replied. That stillness, that unshakable sense of self, is what keeps you valuable in her mind long after the conversation ends. The fourth mistake is trying too hard to impress her. When an older man feels genuine attraction toward a younger woman, he can start overthinking every interaction. He plans everything to perfection. He chooses every word carefully. He tries to present a version of himself that he hopes will be enough. And in doing all of that, he stops being himself and starts being a performance. She feels the difference immediately. What was natural becomes rehearsed. What felt grounded starts feeling effortful, and effort that is visible is the opposite of attractive. A strong man doesn't perform, he leads. He decides where they're going without turning it into an open debate. He speaks with the settled certainty of someone who knows his own mind. He stays relaxed when things don't go perfectly, because a man who has lived long enough knows that nothing ever goes exactly according to plan. When you lead from that place, she feels anchored to something real. But the moment the interaction starts feeling like an audition, she senses the pressure. And pressure from a man she was beginning to admire is one of the fastest ways to undo everything that was building between you. The fifth mistake is building an entire future in your head before anything real has formed. This trap catches older men more often than almost any other, especially men who have been alone for a while, who have been searching for real connection and suddenly feel like they might have found it. She gives you her genuine attention. She laughs at the right moments. She seems fully present. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a story begins writing itself about what this could become. You start picturing things that haven't happened yet. You start making decisions based on a version of the relationship that exists only in your own imagination. Red flags get dismissed. Signs of uncertainty get overlooked. You invest emotionally into something that may not be what you're telling yourself it is. Stay in the present. Let what is actually happening be enough for right now. If something real is growing between you, it will grow without you forcing it. And if it isn't, you'll have saved yourself a pain you built entirely with your own hopes. She can feel when a man is already 20 steps ahead of the actual relationship, and it doesn't feel like romance to her. It feels like weight she never agreed to carry. The sixth and most important mistake is forgetting who you are. This is the thread that connects every other mistake on this list, because every single one of them starts in the same place. The moment self-doubt arrives, she walks into your life, and instead of standing fully in everything you have built over 5 decades, you start quietly questioning it. Am I still enough? Do I still matter? Does any of what I've been through mean anything to someone her age? And in that moment of questioning, you begin dismantling the very qualities that made her notice you. You need to understand this clearly. You are not the fortunate one in this dynamic. A man who has built a real life, who has survived real loss, who carries a depth of understanding that cannot be learned from a book, is not lucky to receive a younger woman's attention. She is encountering something rare, and the moment you forget that, you start shrinking in ways she will feel before she can name them. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events, and that realizing this is where real strength begins. Your years are not a liability to apologize for. They are the exact foundation on which genuine attraction is built. The calm, the certainty, the quiet authority of a man who has already survived his hardest chapters. These are your advantages. Not in spite of the gap between you, because of it. Hold your ground. Stay anchored in the truth of who you have become. Lead from that place, not from who you think she needs you to be. Because the man who stood completely in himself from the very beginning is the man who stays in her mind long after everyone else has faded. Never forget that man. He is the reason she looked twice.